The galaxy remembered conquerors, feared tyrants, and whispered of empires, but none of its oldest archives, not the crystalline minds of the Keeler, nor the memory trees of the Varan, contained a single word about Earth. To the Zorath Imperium, Earth was nothing more than a nameless sphere on the fringe of a spiral arm, a world classified as biologically average and politically irrelevant. When the Imperial cartographers processed the sector, they didn't even bother assigning Earth a full cultural index. They marked it in pale grey, the colour reserved for species deemed incapable of resisting conquest. The Empire's doctrine did not require diplomacy with such worlds. It demanded swift assimilation, decisive force, and the display of overwhelming technological power. To them, humanity was simply another race that would kneel. The Imperial fleet entered the Sol system in perfect formation, shimmering hulls reflecting the dim glow of the outer planets. Their sensors swept Earth in seconds, mapping continents, reading languages, calculating population clusters, and identifying weapon signatures. The results annoyed them. The planet had far more communication noise, satellite networks, and digital clutter than expected for a Tier 0 civilization. But none of it mattered. Empire analysts called it useless chaos, the kind of disorder born from underdeveloped species. They prepared their typical ultimatum, expecting panic. Earth's sky darkened as Imperial warships locked into position. Power grids flickered. Communications died. Global navigation crashed. And within minutes, every human being on Earth knew something enormous had arrived above them. The Empire broadcast its demand. Surrender was required immediately. Kneeling was mandatory. Resistance would be answered by orbital fire. This ultimatum had broken dozens of worlds before. Fear always came first, submission next, silence last. But as the message repeated across hijacked human frequencies, something happened that the Empire did not expect. Earth did not cower. Earth did not bow. Earth reacted. Across the planet, in homes, cities, deserts, and mountaintops, millions of humans moved, not in confusion, but with a strange, fierce clarity. Instead of frozen terror, the Imperial observers witnessed waves of civilians organizing spontaneously. People used improvised frequencies to bypass the jamming. Software engineers attacked the Empire's communications. Teenagers attempted to decode encrypted channels. Mechanics pulled apart cars to build crude EMP generators. No one waited for orders. No one hesitated. Empire commanders watching from orbit felt the first twinge of unease. Humanity was not behaving like prey. Their initial scans identified no planet-wide military coordination, no unified command structure, and no prepared interstellar defenses. Yet the resistance forming below looked synchronized. The Empire checked again. And again. They could not find the central authority that should have been giving the orders Earth somehow obeyed. Civilians spoke different languages, lived under different governments, believed in different histories. Yet they united instantly under one idea: fight back. The Empire escalated. They warned the humans they had 10 minutes before the orbital batteries commenced atmospheric cleansing. It was not a bluff. Entire continents could be removed in a single strike. The countdown began, but as the seconds ticked down, the Empire witnessed a phenomenon they could not quantify. Human militaries activated hidden operations logs no Imperial analyst knew existed. Agencies surfaced that even Earth's own governments barely admitted to funding. Global defense grids, long believed incomplete or theoretical, snapped online. But these details barely hinted at the truth. Something deeper moved beneath Earth's surface, something the Empire wouldn't understand until it was far too late. The Imperial flagship intercepted a transmission. It came through multiple encrypted layers, bouncing across Earth's networks, planetary relays, abandoned spy satellites, and fiber lines long since written off as dead. It was not panicked. It was not rushed. It did not scream. It whispered a human voice, calm as stone, "Do not surrender." Do not negotiate. Bleed them. The Empire halted its countdown. The voice was not tagged to any rank they recognized. No planet-wide ID matched its markers. The Empire's AI attempted Vorusprint recognition and failed. The message repeated, this time cutting through even the Imperium's own command channels. Every human device, shattered radios, silent televisions, broken screens, flickered to life with the same whisper. And the humans responded. The Empire demanded to know the source. Earth's networks revealed nothing. Their intelligence teams finally found one file attached to an abandoned military node. General Varus, call sign Whisper. No birth record. No service record. No history. Only a single note embedded in corrupted metadata, classified beyond Tier 9. If heard, obey. The Empire reviewed Earth's military strength and saw no Tier 9 anything. That level of classification belonged to civilizations capable of folding space, rewriting matter, or altering time. The Empire decided it was a bluff that IT was not. Varus gave another order, this time to the planet itself. Dormant systems deep beneath the crust activated. The Imperium had scanned the planet extensively, yet somehow their scans had missed enormous silos shielded under layers of false geological signatures. Rail cannons the size of mountains rose from hidden shafts. Atmospheric distortion arrays ignited high above the equator. Orbital cloaking nets flickered back to life after decades of silence. Earth's surface glowed with heat signatures Imperial sensors had no classification for. The fleet above experienced something unprecedented. Unknown weapon locks. Moments later, the first shot fired a beam of kinetic energy, invisible to the naked eye yet powerful enough to carve asteroids in half, tore through the atmosphere. It ripped into an Imperial cruiser before the ship could even raise its shields. The vessel folded inward like soft metal and detonated. Imperial officers froze. According to their records, Earth's technology should not have allowed this level of power. The rail cannons fired again. 2 more cruisers fell. The fleet scrambled to reposition. Then Earth's sky shimmered. Thousands of objects, previously invisible, decloaked. They were not aircraft. They were drones, sleek, silent, shaped like predatory birds. They moved with fluid, unnatural motion, guided by an AI that learned and adapted mid-flight. These drones bypassed Imperial shielding, embedding themselves in weak points the Empire didn't even know were weak. For the first time in centuries, an Imperial strike fleet took casualties from a world they had not yet conquered. Imperial commanders demanded answers. How did Earth acquire tech beyond its classification? How did its civilians coordinate without central command? Why did its black-budget defenses rival those of developed star nations? They had no answers because their initial assumption had been wrong. Humanity wasn't unprepared. Humanity wasn't naive. Humanity wasn't primitive. Humanity had been waiting. Earth had been studying the stars quietly, preparing for the moment something hostile arrived. Their technological leaps were uneven, messy, and secretive, so fragmented that no alien race saw the pattern. But humans had always excelled at one thing above all else: adapting under pressure. Empire admirals attempted to regain control of the battle. They formed defensive formations, attempted to predict human patterns, and launched counterstrikes. But their predictive AI failed instantly. Human responses did not follow logic trees. Their patterns shifted faster than the AI could calculate. It was as if Earth's entire population thought with one mind, a mind that changed tactics every second. The Empire hailed Earth again. This time, they demanded direct communication with the mysterious general. Earth finally responded. Every Imperial screen, HUD, visor, and holographic panel turned black before a single line of text appeared: "You conquered Earth." The voice of General Varus followed, not loud, but sharp. "And you still don't understand what that." The news of Earth's unexpected resistance spread through the Zorath Imperium like a crack through glass. Thin at first, then unstoppable. At the highest spire of the Imperial core, the Senate chamber's crystalline walls shimmered with emergency alerts. Worlds that had not sent distress signals in centuries were reporting losses. Outposts that once boasted impenetrable shields were transmitting frantic warnings before going dark. Everything pointed to a single, horrifying truth. Earth, a world originally classified as inconsequential, had inflicted real damage. The Imperial senators attempted to frame the reports as anomalies. Faulty data, misinterpreted telemetry, pirate interference, anything that preserved their illusion of control. But as more transmissions arrived, the illusion collapsed. A fleet that should have subdued an entire sector in a day had been forced into defensive maneuvers by a species that lacked warp technology. The Senate demanded explanations. Admirals responded with excuses. Analysts produced theories. But deep beneath the arguments, fear grew like mold in the dark. The Empire had built its dominance on the belief that no species could match its technological superiority. No world had ever escaped subjugation once targeted. Yet Earth had not only resisted, it had counterattacked. A report finally silenced the Senate. It came from a scout vessel positioned near the Sol system, the wreckage of Imperial cruisers in orbit, debris clouds spreading across the void, leaking fuel lines glimmering like dying constellations. The images displayed damage patterns that confused the analysts. Some hulls were melted by directed energy. Others were pierced clean through by projectiles too dense and fast to categorize. Some displayed surgical cuts, as if dissected by weapons meant to test structural endurance. Others were torn apart by brute force. The Senate erupted. If a Tier 0 world could do this with no starships, what would happen if they acquired them? The fear escalated into desperation. They declared Earth a priority erasure target, a classification reserved for existential threats. The order was not to conquer, not to subjugate, not to negotiate. The order was to eliminate Earth from existence. Entire fleets began mobilizing towards Sol, ready to burn the planet to ashes. But before they could begin their approach, something happened that none of them anticipated. Earth moved first. On the planet's surface, the unexpected unity that had stunned the Empire only deepened. Engineers worked side by side with hackers. Civilians coordinated with militaries. Every encrypted communication channel was alive with furious human collaboration. Reverse engineering labs flooded with captured fragments of Zorath technology. Humanity had studied the Imperium's digital language for less than 24 hours, yet hundreds of breakthroughs had already been made. The Imperium's technology, once considered unattainable, crumbled under human curiosity like an ancient lock picked by impatient hands. Quantum encryption layers were peeled apart. Warp core schematics were interpreted and redrawn. Artificial gravity systems were reproduced using parts that were never designed for such power. Humanity learned not gradually, but explosively. Every discovery accelerated the next. Every obstacle provoked creativity. Imperials had always believed learning curves were linear. Humans proved theirs was exponential inside a sealed facility beneath the Atlantic, where black-budget projects had been buried for decades. The truth about Earth's readiness emerged. Humanity had never been as unprepared as it appeared. Generations of hidden scientists had predicted extraterrestrial contact. They had prepared contingencies. They had built prototypes. They had experimented in secret. But without a catalyst, their progress remained dormant. The Empire's invasion became that catalyst. General Varus, whose identity remained as obscure as a myth, activated a protocol forgotten by most of Earth's own leaders. A directive that connected every dormant system, every classified project, every abandoned test site. Humanity's separate pieces fused into a single, immense war engine, and from that war engine emerged the first human interstellar fleet. They were not ships in the traditional sense. They were constructs born from stolen fragments, repurposed satellite arrays, hidden aerospace programs, quantum engine blueprints, and the desperate ingenuity of a species fighting extinction. They were unmanned, controlled by artificial intelligence networks built not for elegance but for adaptability. Their shapes were irregular, angular, functional, machines designed with the sole purpose of eliminating a threat. The Imperium intercepted the first alert from one of their outposts. Sensors detected multiple warp signatures, but the readings were chaotic, unstable spikes, distorted signals, anomalous fold space echoes. The Imperium assumed it was a malfunction. Then the outpost picked up visual confirmation, human ghost fleets emerging from warp space like shadows tearing through fabric. The Imperium denied what they saw. They had always believed warp technology required centuries of refinement. Humanity achieved functional warp travel in mere hours, powering their ships with unstable, dangerous cores that no orderly species would ever risk. Humans accepted the danger because extinction made fear irrelevant. The ghost fleets attacked without hesitation. Their strategies adapted in real time. When Imperial defenses adjusted, human algorithms rewrote their attack patterns on the spot. The outpost tried to raise shields. The ghost fleets burrowed under them. The station attempted to counterhack. Human systems devoured their firewalls. Imperial commanders attempted to flee. Human ships cut off escape routes with unpredictable warp jumps. No-1 understood how humanity predicted Imperial movement so perfectly. They didn't predict it. They reacted faster than prediction could matter. Within minutes, the first outpost was reduced to drifting wreckage. The Empire was stunned. For the first time in recorded history, they issued a full-threat emergency across every world under their rule. The message traveled swiftly. Earth has attacked. Earth has starships. Earth has learned too fast. The panic spread like wildfire. Imperial scientists were summoned to analyze humanity. They studied human biology, psychology, historical development, and early transmissions. Their findings were worse than the Senate imagined. Humans demonstrated an abnormally accelerated adaptation response. Their brains rewired under stress. Their creativity multiplied under threat. Their social connections tightened. Their aggression evolved from chaotic violence to surgical precision. The final research summary reached the Senate with one line underlined repeatedly: humans do not fear escalation. They become escalation. Worse still, the scientists discovered something else. Humans possessed an emotional and cognitive quirk that no previous species exhibited. When faced with a stronger enemy, most civilizations submitted. But humans responded with increased resilience. They treated overwhelming odds not as defeat, but as motivation. The Senate realized the war was not simply dangerous. It was unwinnable. Still, they insisted on maintaining control. They assembled a counter fleet, the largest deployed in decades, and sent it to the Harleth Prime shipyard to prepare for humanity's assault. They believed Harleth Prime would be an impenetrable wall. It was the heart of the Imperium's construction. Dozens of shipyards floated in symmetrical orbit. Thousands of turret towers guarded its perimeter. War factories churned out drones, cruisers, and heavy armor around the clock. No hostile force had ever breached Harleth Prime. Humanity did it in 9 minutes.